safe and healthy. Welcome to the Inspire Learning Series. I am Coach JM Pilares of Inspire Sports Academy and Brown Mamba Marketing. Today I'm going to talk about something close to my heart and really passionate about, sports coaching. This is applicable to all sports coaches, whether you're a veteran coach, as a refresher, or a newbie. For those who want to explore being one, this is also for you. So join me as we deep dive to one of the most thankless but fulfilling professions out there. So this Inspire Learning Series is brought to you by Brown Mamba Marketing and Inspire Sports Academy. So Sports Coaching 101. For this session, I'm just going to talk about the basics of what the role of a coach is. And I divided them into 3 parts. The first one is identifying what coaching is. Next is the coaching roles. And finally, understanding the importance of coaches. So what is coaching? When you ask someone what a coach is, they will say that the coach is an advisor, a mentor, a counselor, a motivator. These are all correct. Okay, these are all correct. But I found this definition, which I think summarizes what the coach is. So coaching is a form of development in which a person called a coach supports a learner or client in achieving a specific personal or professional goal by providing training and guidance. So this is from Jonathan Passmore. So I identified 3 key words in this statement. So the first one is development. Next is it's personal, and the guidance. So why these words? So a coach is someone who develops. When you develop someone, obviously you want him or her to be better. It's something personal. You have to adjust depending on what the personalities that you have. Especially with dealing with athletes, they vary from the youth to the professional level. And the next is guidance. When you guide someone because you want to correct him or her to be better. You provide guidance because as coaches, as mentors, as motivators, as a facilitator, we should know what's best for our athletes. So another definition that I found about coaching, which I think is quite funny, but yet maybe true. This is how people perceive coaches. So the first one is this. Okay, so there's an image of a coach who yells at someone for not running fast enough. I guess this is applicable to a lot of coaches. Maybe to me, it is. But then again, I'm pretty sure that this particular coach wants his athletes to be better. That's why he is instructing them to do the drills properly. Another image I found, okay, is this one. So again, a lot of people have different perceptions of what a coach is. Some think that we are always temperamental. Some think that it's always championships, teaching the youth, always on the drawing board, trying to make plays or improve our systems. So these are all true, but as we go deeper into our discussion today, there are different other factors of what being a coach is. So I'm going to discuss them. So what are the coaching roles? There are 3 stages of coach to athlete training. There are different forms of coaching. In the corporate setting, there's coaching in school, but we're going to just focus on the coach to athlete training aspect of coaching. So the first stage is the cognitive stage. This is when the athlete first starts a sport event. So we're talking about the youth level. Then the associative stage, as the athlete develops and demonstrates a sound technical understanding of the sport. So they gradually change and adjust. And finally, the autonomous stage, It is where the athlete matures and demonstrates a sound understanding of training principles. So this is very important because you have to know the level or the stage of the team or the athlete or individual that you're coaching. And you have to adjust accordingly. For some of the coaches out there, they coach in different levels simultaneously, from the pro to the school level to the youth level. So it is very important that you tailor fit your program or your approach depending on the needs or the level that your athletes have. So there's this is an image from Fitz and Posner that summarizes the three stages of coach to athlete training. First, the cognitive or beginner, associative or intermediate, and finally autonomous or advanced training. Okay, I have here a list of minimum coaching competencies needed. There's a lot, okay, but I only identified 6. For me, these are the non-negotiables. As long as you perform these roles, I think you can be a good coach at the very least. Okay, of course, you can exceed these competencies. You can add to this list, but for now, at least these 6 should be non-negotiable. Number 1 is organizing. Second is ensuring safety. Third is providing instruction and explanation. Fourth, demonstration. Fifth is observing and analyzing. And finally, giving feedback. Organization. So in organizing the training session, you need to plan how you'll manage the athletes, the equipment, the area, so everything. So it's important to do your homework. Okay, because some coaches think that having a good practice plan is enough. Yes, it's very important, but you have to make sure that your training venue, the area, the equipment, they're all complete, they're all taken care of, to ensure that you can proceed with your practice or your game in a smooth manner. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Okay? So we do not like failure. Nobody likes failure. So in order to avoid this, you have to plan ahead and do your homework. Okay, next, safety and risk assessment. I think it's important that all coaches, regardless of what level, regardless of sport, should know basic first aid. Okay, you never know what will happen, and unfortunately, sometimes there are instances wherein medical assistance is needed. So, in providing a safe environment for athletes, you must assess the risk of the area, the equipment, and the athletes. Okay, so we have to coach with love. Okay, it's not just about X's and O's, it's part of it. But you have to care for your athletes, and it begins by having a safe environment to play in. Okay, instruction and explanation. In providing instruction and explanation, you should think about and plan what you're going to say. Say it with clarity. Okay, a lot of times, our coaches, our players, I'm sorry, do not do the task that is required of them. Have you ever thought about the reason why? Sometimes you do not give them clear instructions. It happens everywhere. So make sure that your instructions are clear. Ask questions, okay? To avoid miscommunication, okay? So provide clear instructions and explanations. Demonstration, okay? So aside from providing instruction, you should always demonstrate, especially at the youth level, wherein a lot of these kids are doing drills for the first time. Okay, so you should demonstrate. it would be ideal if the coach would be the one to demonstrate. But sometimes we're just not physically fit anymore, or we're way past our prime. But you can ask the help of your assistant coaches, your other players on the team, your other athletes, or maybe some instructional video would help as well. So it's very important. Demonstrate and repeat every time it is not clear, when someone is still confused on the drills, on the plays. Repeat. Repetition is also key. Observation and analysis. Another important role of a coach. In observing and analyzing, break the action down into phases. Okay? Focus on one phase at a time. So, kumbaga, you break it down, himayin natin, and you analyze. We explain. It would be good if you could video record your games and practices, so you can really pinpoint and you can show your athletes what needs to be improved on, the corrections that need to be made. And trust me, once you show it to them, because sometimes they will deny it. They will tell you that I did not do this, I did not do that. But once it's caught on video, there's no denying a specific action that was not done properly. So you can really tell them what needs to be done next time. Feedback, very important. Always give feedback, both positive and negative. Okay, we have to encourage our athletes by giving them positive feedback. You really did well in this, and also negative feedback. That's constructive. Wag naman yung nakakasakit ng, hindi, we can't avoid or we can't help it that sometimes they really get emotional when we give feedback, which is normal, but you also have to encourage them. So when there's a negative thing that happened, then you give them a feedback to correct it, and they did well the next time around. You have to give them a positive feedback next time. Okay. Okay, now we go to understanding the importance of coaches. First, we have to focus on improving the team as a whole. Okay, what do we mean by this? The basic function of a coach is to improve the skill level of his or her players. Okay, so this is non-negotiable. But the focus is to improve the team as a whole by maximizing their full potential. Okay. Again, the skill levels of your players on the team are different. Okay, some are more advanced than others, but you have to deal with the cards you're given. So maximize this, maximize the potential of each player, and consequently improve the skill level of each for the success of the whole team. So to help us understand this better, we have a special guest, Coach Nash, on his take on the role of a coach.
The role of a coach is to help their athletes develop into their full potential.
Okay, so thank you very much, Coach Nash. A champion coach telling us that the role of a coach is really to develop the full potential of the players, of his or her athletes. Again, their potential will vary, but you will know if you've maximized the potential of each individual on the team. Okay? Next, coaching is more than just X's and O's. There are a lot of great coaches out there who have different systems. As a coach, I myself, I try to learn new techniques every day. Okay, you try to borrow someone's playbook. And I'm sure a lot of the coaches have done the same thing. But coaching is not just X's and O's. The role of a coach is far more than simply organizing practices and managing games. Of course, that's a given. Okay? It's a given that you have your own system, you have your own technique in coaching a particular sport. Coaching fill a variety of roles in their players' lives, acting as everything from mentor to role model to parent. Okay, so again, with coaching, we will not dwell on the X's and O's here in this presentation, but more than that, it's really the attitude that you should have as a coach. So we have Coach Leo Austria here, another champion coach, I'm sorry, on his take on the role of a coach.
You should understand them first.
Thank you, Coach Leo. So Coach Leo was like a father figure to his players. Okay, and I guess the proof is in the pudding. I think San Miguel has won, if I'm not mistaken, 8 championships. And that team has a lot of egos. But by understanding the needs of his players, maybe dwelling on their personal lives, they reciprocated this by understanding what he wanted the team to achieve. So thank you very much, Coach Leo Austria. Next is developing synergies within your team. Okay, one of the hallmarks of a well-coached team is that the team's performance is far greater than the sum of its parts. So again, the individual skills or developing the full potential of each individual is very important. But as the saying goes, diba? There's no I in team, but sabi nga ni Kobe, there's ME, but there's no I in team. Although Michael Jordan even said that there's I in win. But we all know that, I mean, these great players have different takes on their individual skills. But collectively, they have to complement each other in order to maximize the full potential of the team. Coaches should motivate their players to play together and bring out the best in their players, to play as a cohesive unit, putting in the good of the team above individual goals. We don't want selfish players. Okay? We have to motivate them that you have to let them know that by being unselfish, they make their teammates even better. And consequently, the team becomes better as well. Okay. So we have here Coach Eric Gonzalez on his take on being a coach.
A coach should know how to lead, inspire, and bring out the best out of his players and team.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Eric. So again, according to Coach Eric, a coach should lead, inspire, and bring out the best of his or her players in the team. So it will really be different for each individual. So kailangan mong alamin ano ba yung kiliti ng bawat isa in order to bring out the best in them. Thank you, Coach Eric. Next is to know your players. To be a good coach, you must understand how to manage the individuals on your team. Again, diba, knowing each and every member. Okay, do not play favoritisms. Okay, sometimes, diba, we have this inkling to really treat our star players differently because they bring in the wins. But this should not be the case. Each and every individual of a team or a team can be an individual sport. Let's say, for example, for tennis, there's still a team that forms a tennis team that forms to ensure that is formed to ensure that the individual tennis player will perform to the best of his or her ability. So understand each one of them, talk to them, dialogue with them in order to get the performance that you need from each member. A coach is a mentor. Make sure you direct them down the appropriate path by correcting their mistakes. Okay, we all make mistakes. Our players will make mistakes, especially in a sports setting. Okay, we do not always win. But as a mentor, you have to let them know what the mistakes were, and you have to, remember, correct them. So it's not enough that you tell them that they made a mistake. If you do not correct it, they will just keep repeating these mistakes over and over again. So we have here Coach Ronnie Magsanoc on his take as a coach. I'm sorry.
My name is Coach Ronnie Magsanoc. Basketball coach should be able to protect its players. Basketball coach must have the ability to correct its players. Finally, a coach in basketball should also have the capacity to be able to protect its players.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Ronnie. So, three key words in this take by Coach Ronnie is protecting the players. Paglalaban mo talaga yung mga players mo, correcting them, okay, and directing them. Directing them to the right direction, directing them on to do what is right. Okay, so thank you very much, Coach Ronnie. Next, teach good exercise habits, especially now in the time of this pandemic. A lot of teams I see are doing their own online workout sessions. Okay, so we have to be disciplined, even if it is the off-season. Mahirap bumawi, mahirap maghabol. Diba? So teach good exercise habits. And remember that playing a sport is hard work. Okay? For some people who do not take sports seriously, they can compete, but not really on a high level. And trust me, the losses will be far greater than the W's. So put in the hard work. It's not just the skill development of a particular sport. Skill is very important, but you also have to be physically fit, depending on the type of sport you're engaged in. The discipline brought about by healthy living will benefit your athletes for years to come. An athlete can play up to, I don't know, 35 or maybe 40 years old competitively. And after this, they usually retire. And it's not even half of their lifetime. So by practicing good habits, by having these habits as athletes, okay, you can be ensured that they will really thank you because it was already instilled in them at the early part of their lives that they will carry on even when they're not athletes anymore. So exercise, very important. Okay, the mental aspect of sports is often undervalued. Okay, so we have sports psychologists, and I don't know if it's really accepted already, but I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, people do not like having sports psychologists because they think that they need to have that mental training, or they need correction on their mental way of thinking. So this is yes and no. Okay, a lot of times we see players who crumble under pressure. Why? Because they're not really strong mentally. You see them shooting a lot of balls or hitting a lot of balls during practice, and you're really impressed. But come game time, they just do not perform. So it's all mental. In order to get the best performance out of your players, both as individuals and as components of the larger team, you cannot ignore the mental aspects of the game. Okay? A confident player is far more likely to succeed. You look at champions. Diba? One thing in common is their confidence level, bordering on being cocky sometimes or tumayabang. But this is because they're really confident on what they're doing. So totoo, hindi naman talaga mayabang yung mga yan. They're just confident. Case in point, Steph Curry. We all like the guy. Whenever he's being interviewed, he just says the right words. He's a good family man. But on the court, diba? Whenever he shoots a three, he shimmies going down court, and some of us think that he's too cocky. His confidence level is just way up there. So these are the shots that he makes because he knows he can make them, and because his mental toughness is way above the rest. So we have Coach Bobae Park on his take on the role of a coach. Coach Bobae has been with the FEU program, the Baby Tams, the football program, and they've won 10 consecutive championships in the UAAP. So I'm sure they've had close calls along the way, but for them to be consistent in winning championships, I think their players, aside from having that skill level, from being well coached, also are strong mentally.
For me, most important goal as a coach is psychologist. We give them mental strong or give them motivation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Coach Bobae. So again, ika nga ni Coach Bobae, mental strong. So we have to be strong mentally. Okay? We can implement that as coaches, but we can also seek help from sports psychologists out there. Thank you, Coach. Okay? So next, remember that you are coaching a game. Regardless of the level at which you're coaching, remember that it is still a game. Sometimes we forget, diba, that at the end of the day, it's just a game. Of course, we understand the pressure of coaching, especially in the collegiate level, professional level, because sometimes your lives are at stake because it's your profession. But you have to remember that you have to have fun. By having fun, the players will likely have fun as well. But remember the times when you were just playing in the barangay level, in your own communities. It was all fun. Whether you win or you lose, diba, you still go home with a smile on your face, pagod ka pero masaya ka. In the NBA, for example, there are 30 teams, diba? And only one team will win the championship. At the end of the season, there's only one team who will end the season with a W. Of course, not including those who did not make the playoffs. So can we truly say that all the other teams, all the other 29 teams were not successful? Maybe not. Okay, so have fun. Your players will have fun. And there have been a lot of examples of teams who lost the championship, who did not make the playoffs, but were having fun, were enjoying. And until now, these memories are what makes them do better in their professions. Okay? Coaching. You're coaching a game. Finally, be the best coach you can be. Good coaches take many different forms. Okay? There are those who are very serious. There are those who are funny. Diba, may sinasabi tayong players coach. They have different attitudes. Okay? So there's no coach is perfect. And each one will make many mistakes along the way. That's a given. The key is to learn from your mistakes and continually strive to become the best coach you can be and instill good values to all your players. Okay, very important. The values. Okay, After a while, your players will be out of shape. They will be working uh, elsewhere. They won't be athletes anymore. But the values you instill in them while they are your players will be carried uh, forever. So it has to be good values. So we now have Coach Charles Chu on his take on the role of a coach.
I'd say the most important role of a coach is to develop people, make players have better values, better characters, and at the same time teaching them about life.
Okay, very well said, Coach Charles. Thank you very much. So yeah, make players have better values. Teach them about life. It's not all about the sport. You won't always win. I doubt it if there's an athlete out there who retired without ever losing. Uh, Floyd Mayweather, I think, lost in his amateur days. Okay, so, and there will be more losers than winners. Again, there's going to be only one champion. Okay, so you have to teach them these values, teach them about life so they can succeed. We want them to succeed when they are not athletes anymore. That's the most important thing. So thank you, Coach Charles, another champion coach. So in ending, I have two quotations from two legend coaches. And these quotes, of course, there's a lot out there. For me, uh, summarize my belief on what coaching really is. So the first one from Gordy Gillespie: the great coaches are great humanitarians. They really care for the athlete as people first and athlete second. This is paramount in gaining respect. Again, these athletes are not commodities. They are human beings. They are people. I feel sad that some athletes are being sold to other organizations. Okay? That's the truth. That's happening nowadays. But remember, these are human beings. They have feelings. They have emotions. Okay, so you have to care for them. Okay, as human beings first, then athletes second. Okay? Ang problema kasi ngayon, people or organizations or teams have vested interests already. The goal ultimately now is just winning. Okay, but not everybody will win. So focus on the many goals along the way. Focus on the practices. Focus on the relationships that you have with your players. So the next quotation I have is from, of course, John Wooden. Good coaching is about leadership and instilling respect in your players. Dictators lead through fear. Good coaches do not. Okay, again, leadership, respect, a very powerful word. So you have to respect your players if you want them to respect. So if you will notice from both these coaches, you do not see X's and O's. It's far beyond X's and O's. Of course, again, it's very important. Okay, but it's really caring for your athletes, respecting your athletes. Bigyan mo ng malasakit yan. Diba? And we see a lot of relationships between athletes and coaches that have blossomed really into friendship. And at the same time, we see relationships that really did not go well. Okay, so care for your athletes, respect them. Okay, so with that, I really want to say thank you. This has been really just a basic understanding of what a coach is, at least at the sporting level, athletic coaching, athlete coaching. We're gonna have a series of modules to help our coaches and eventually come up with a coaching certification course for coaches out there. So these are non-negotiables. My presentation. Okay, I'm sure the coaches out there have the ability to really imbibe these attributes and apply it here. And trust me, if you do all of these, it's not easy. Okay, but if it's something that you're really passionate about, something that you want to succeed on, if you do all these things, you do not have to win a championship to be a successful and to be a good, a great coach. So thank you very much. And there's one more thing I forgot. If all things fails, I forgot something. We can also pray. Okay? Don't forget to pray. Pagdasal natin yung mga team natin. Pagdasal natin yung mga players. So thank you very much. This has been Coach JM Pilares. I'm gonna see you again. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.